Hey there, tonight we're going for a quiet ride. Just you, the road, and a canyon so foggy it might as well be breathing. You're behind the wheel, engine purring low like a tired beast, and the world around you has fallen into that hush only truckers and ghosts seem to appreciate. You know the kind, where the static on your CB radio feels less like interference and more like it's listening back. This route wasn't on your schedule. Dispatch rang just as you were about to check into a motel. Urgent delivery, pays double, rural road, light traffic. You probably should have asked why no one else took it, but hey, double's double. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Let me know where you're listening from and what time it is over there. I love seeing how far these whispers travel. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's drift into tonight's dark tale together. You've been driving for a few hours already when the last real town disappears behind your side mirror. The sun's gone down, and you don't remember seeing a sign for this canyon, but your GPS blips weirdly, then resets with a name, Grey Pass Hollow. The road curves like it's remembering something painful. Uneven pavement, no guardrails, that kind of route. Your headlights barely touch the rock walls on either side, and everything beyond that, black as pitch. You mutter something, maybe to stay awake, maybe to feel less alone, but the only reply is that low static hum on the radio. Not quite white noise, almost like breathing. You flick it off. 50 miles in and not a single other vehicle. No truckers, no late night speeders, not even wildlife. You think of that story, how some rural routes in Utah and New Mexico are nicknamed ghost highways. Old trade roads where entire wagon trains vanished. You chuckle softly. Yeah, that be the day. Still, your hands tighten on the wheel. Up ahead, you spot a turnout, barely lit, no signage, just a flickering lamppost and a beaten road leading to an unmarked station. You didn't plan to stop, but the fuel gauge is dipping. Classic, right? The station looks half alive. One lonely pump, roof caved on one end, windows clouded like cataracts, but you pull in. The pump clicks on without asking for a car. You grip the nozzle, it's warm, too warm. Inside, the glass door squeaks. The air smells like cedar smoke and something old. Behind the counter is a woman with hair down to her elbows, silver and tangled like forgotten threads. You're late, she says without looking. Your breath catches. I didn't know I had a schedule. She blinks slowly. Doesn't matter, you passed the switchpoint, you're in it now. That's when the radio inside your cab switches itself back on. Just soft static, then a voice, slow and distant, as if calling from the bottom of a well. You almost missed it. You freeze. The old woman hums to herself, counting something under her breath. Her fingers tap a rhythm. You've heard it before. It's the same beat that echoed in your dream last week, the one with the canyon that swallowed headlights. Pay now or pay later, she says, eyes finally meeting yours. They're cloudy like stone beneath ice. You leave a 20 on the counter and back out. As you drive away, the radio crackles louder. A whisper, left, at the fork, or right into the dark. Experts still wonder whether isolated auditory hallucinations during long-haul drives stem from pure exhaustion, or if they awaken some liminal part of the brain more receptive to whatever's out there. You didn't see a fork, but your hands turn left anyway. The road narrows, the fog rises, and for the first time all night you feel watched, not in a jumpy, horror movie kind of way. No. More like you're a part of something's memory, like this road remembers you and it's waiting to see what you've learned. That's when you notice a shape just beyond the fog, four-legged, long-necked, watching, then gone. Could be a deer. Or it could be one of those creatures from Canadian Algonquian legend, the Achin, a spirit of hunger and cold that watches travelers from just beyond reach. People say it follows roads lined with pine. Like this one, you shift in your seat. The road hums back. You begin to suspect this story isn't just a story. And whatever that woman meant by "you're in it now," it's not something you can turn off with the radio. The road feels tighter now. Not in a literal sense, though it is narrower. shoulder practically brushing canyon walls in some places, but in a perceptual way, like the air's thicker, like the sound of your tires is dull. You try to open a window, nothing happens. You glance at the button again, it's lit, but there's no sound of the motor. Just that same soft static creeping in again through your speakers, though the radio's still off. Your fingers twitch on the wheel. Up ahead, just before the next bend, a green glow appears on the horizon. Not natural. It pulses faintly like a heartbeat, low and underwater. You slow down, habit, maybe curiosity, or something else guiding your foot off the gas. The glow resolves into something unexpected. A gas station, same layout as before. Same busted roof, same flickering lamppost, same rust on the pumps. But it's only been 20 minutes. You know because your dashboard clock hasn't moved. You kill the engine and sit in silence. The radio turns on again by itself. Back again, or still here. Your stomach flips. You swing the door open and step into air that feels 10 degrees colder than it should. The ground is dry, but your boots squish against it like wet sand. Inside the station, the layout matches perfectly, but the woman is gone. In her place is a man, same chair, same posture, except he's wearing a deputy's uniform, something from the 70s, you guess. The badge is real, though. You can feel it, like it's watching. You made a wrong turn, he says, voice calm, polite, like a park ranger giving directions. I followed the road. He nods. Yep, that's the problem. He offers you a cup of coffee that smells like pine and copper. You don't drink it. I've seen you before, he says. Not in this cycle, but close enough. You try to ask what that means, but your mouth won't form the question. Instead, you look to the shelves. They're full of motor oil, but every bottle is labeled with handwritten tags. Left too early. Forgot the dog. Stayed in the car. None of it makes sense, but something else catches your eye. An old Polaroid taped behind the register. It's blurry, taken at night, but you recognize the shape of your truck, headlights cutting into the fog. You step closer. There's a silhouette next to the truck in the photo. Not you. Something taller, thinner, with no neck and arms that droop too low. The man notices your stare. That thing, don't mind it, only appears when you start asking the wrong questions. You try to laugh, it comes out wrong, tight and dry. You ask, what is this place? He shrugs. Depends on the night, depends on the driver. Is it real? He leans forward, fingers drumming a slow, familiar beat against the countertop. That rhythm again. Always that rhythm. You ever heard of the Lost Patrol? He asks. Royal Canadian Mounted Police, 1910s. 4 officers disappeared between Fort McPherson and Dawson City. Took the winter route. Never made it. Some folks say they found the trail weeks later, but the bodies were walking against the direction of travel, like they were turning back too late. You nod slowly, unsure what to say. Same kind of road, he adds. The coffee starts steaming more violently now, though the cup hasn't moved. You smell rust and lemon balm. The windows fog from the inside. You back away. I should go. Already are, he says. You're not sure what that means until you step outside and see your truck door already open, your keys in the ignition. The cab lights blink off as you approach, like someone else was just inside and decided to leave the lights for you. You climb in. The radio doesn't hum. The engine doesn't protest, but you feel it the second you pull back onto the road. You're deeper now. You glance in the mirror. The gas station is gone, not faded. Not receding, just gone. Like it never was. You pass a mile marker that reads mile 0. But you've already been driving for over an hour. You tell yourself it's just poor signage, old roads, backwoods surveying. Happens all the time, except you saw that station. Twice. And that photo, your truck, that thing beside it, feels burned behind your eyelids. Experts still debate whether phantom towns are shared hallucinations or cultural memory glitches. Some say they're fragments of suppressed trauma left behind by forgotten tragedies. Others think they're testing grounds, places the world keeps separate from reality to see how people behave when lost. You don't know which theory is worse. but you're starting to feel like Grey Pass Hollow doesn't want to be understood. The fog returns suddenly, crawling across the road like spilled milk, clinging to the bumper as you roll forward at 25 miles per hour. This time, your headlights don't reach more than 10 feet. You turn the radio off again, but it hums without power. The CB crackles, a voice like a soft gravel scrape. Keep driven, driver. They're walking tonight. You don't reply. You don't breathe. You just keep rolling forward deeper into the hollow. And the air gets even quieter. The next 10 miles pass without incident, if you count clenching your jaw tight enough to ache as no incident. The fog stays thick, pressed against your windshield like a hand that never pulls away. You flip on the high beams for a second, then immediately regret it. It just makes the mist glow, a blinding wall of white. So you crawl forward, slow and steady, engine whispering beneath you. Then, like a glitch in a dream, the fog parts. And there it is again, the same gas station, same busted roof, same flickering lamppost, except now the sign above the awning reads "Last stop before descent." You don't remember that being there. You park, but you don't get out right away. Instead, you stare at your own reflection in the side mirror. Your face looks unfamiliar, like you've been awake for 3 days. You tap your cheek, still warm, still breathing. You climb out slower this time. Inside the station, the lighting's dimmer than before, more like lantern glow than fluorescent. The windows are steamed up from the inside, but you can see her now, the old woman from before, back in the chair, humming to herself. She looks up as the bell chimes. "You didn't listen," she says flatly. "Didn't hear anything worth listening to." She smirks. "You heard plenty. Just chose not to believe it." On the counter sits an old shortwave radio, the kind with chunky dials and a little red needle tracing static. She motions toward it. That's not picking up stations anymore. It's picking up places you want to hear. You hesitate, but then curiosity, that sly old fox, wins out. She turns the dial slowly. The static sharpens into voices. Not one but several, overlapping, whispering names you recognize but can't place. Some are yours, childhood friends, past coworkers, one you haven't heard since high school. Another, your first CB handle back before smartphones. Then silence. Then, driver 47. Remember the hitchhiker with no shoes? Your blood freezes. That story wasn't on air. You told no one. It happened on a drive out of Idaho years ago. A woman in a blue dress by the roadside, pale, silent. You let her in because you were too tired to question it. She never spoke, just pointed. She vanished after the next rest stop. No one ever believed you. You back away from the radio. "That ain't no radio," you whisper. The old woman chuckles dryly. "Never was." She pushes something across the counter. A photo. You pick it up even though your gut says don't. It's another Polaroid. This one of you standing beside your truck, but your face is blurred, smeared, like someone wiped it with wet fingers. And there next to you again is that too tall figure from before. You drop the photo. It lands face down, but you don't pick it up. "You see them yet?" she asks. "See who?" "The walkers, folks who didn't stop in time. Didn't listen to the static." You blink hard. Are they real? She leans closer. Her breath smells like wood smoke and rosemary, more real than you some nights. You step back, everything in you wants out. "Why do I keep coming back?" you ask. She shrugs. "Maybe you're the kind who always needs the same lesson." As you reach the door, she calls out. You'll know when you've left the hollow. Your mirrors will start working again. You hadn't noticed they won't. Back in the truck, the driver's side mirror shows only black. Not reflection, just absence, a void. You put the truck in gear and roll forward. For a while, nothing changes. Then you hear it. The sound that shouldn't be. Tap, tap, tap. A soft, deliberate knock on the glass behind you. The one in your sleeper cab, the one with the curtain drawn. You don't look. Not yet. Not yet. You turn on the CB, hoping for distraction. Static. Then a voice. "Driver, you picked her up again, didn't you?" It's a man's voice. Clear, strong, familiar. Someone from your old rig days, Larry maybe. The one who disappeared outside Laughlin. She never leaves once you let her in. Your mouth goes dry. The knocking stops. You don't dare check the sleeper. Instead, you focus on the road, which begins to slope downward in a long, quiet descent. Canyon walls rise around you like teeth. No stars now. No moon. Just you, your breath, and the hum of static. Did you know in some parts of Scotland there's an old tale of the Grey Woman of the Glen? A silent figure who appears in the back of wagons and coaches. Never speaking, never moving, just watching until the road runs out. Some say she's a guardian. Others say she's the warning. Folklorists still debate her origin. Celtic banshee, repackaged Norse draugr, or something older forgotten. You don't care about debates right now, because you're pretty sure she's behind you, and you're starting to think she's been there since the first mile. You drive with both hands gripping the wheel like it's your only tether to reality. The road dips gently but endlessly, winding through the canyon in slow, serpentine curves. The fog has grown more disciplined now, less chaotic swirls, more like a deliberate veil stretching across your path. But it's not the fog that makes your heart thump louder. It's the fact that you can still feel her behind you. No more knocking, no whispers. Just that quiet weight pressing from the sleeper cab like someone sitting patiently, watching. You try to reason with yourself. Maybe it's sleep deprivation. Long hauls can warp your mind. Micro-sleeps, hallucinations, false memories. That's what they told you when you first hit the road. You even remember the stat. 70% of long-haul drivers have admitted to seeing things that weren't there. But this doesn't feel like seeing things. This feels like being seen. You glance at the side mirror again. Still nothing. Just a black rectangle where reflection should be. Not even fog, not even stars. You reach over with one hand and tug the curtain to the sleeper just a couple inches, just to make sure. There's no one there, but there's an indent in the mattress, right in the center, as if someone's been sitting there for a while. You slam the curtain shut again. The CB crackles once more. "Don't look too long," says a soft voice. This one is feminine, young. She only becomes real when you acknowledge her. You twist the volume knob to 0. Suddenly, the fog clears completely. You hit the brakes hard. The truck lurches, your seatbelt biting into your chest. For a moment, everything stills. The canyon opens before you, vast, moonlit. Towering ridgelines that shimmer silver as though dusted with frost. It's breathtaking and terrifying, because in the middle of this sudden openness stands a man, not waving, not signaling for help, just standing on the center line. Dressed in a trucker's uniform from a couple decades ago, flannel denim, boots caked in red dirt. No hat. His face is obscured, turned away. You honk, once, twice. He doesn't move, you flip on your brights. The man's shadow stretches back into the canyon, far longer than it should, unnaturally long. You start to steer around him, slowly. But the second your wheels touch the yellow line, your engine sputters. Dashboard lights flicker. The wheel tugs left on its own. You yank it back. The man turns. His eyes are completely white, not milky, not glowing, just empty. Bone-white marbles set into sunken sockets. No pupils, no humanity. You've heard of him, even if you don't remember him. Truckers call him the white-eyed walker, an omen, passed between CB calls in the dead of night. Some say he's a former driver who got lost in a snowstorm and kept driving until the road looped back on itself. And now he's cursed to warn others before they do the same. Others claim he's no man at all, but a mirage summoned by fear and fatigue. Researchers from Appalachian folklore archives still debate if the story originated from Cherokee path legends or Depression-era wanderer myths. But no one has ever found the man, just recordings. Whispers, but you're looking at him now. He raises one hand, not to wave, just to point. Behind you, you don't look, you can't look. Your truck shudders, headlights flicker. And then, with no transition at all, he's gone. The road is empty again. But now the silence is deeper, like the canyon itself is holding its breath. You drive forward fast now, too fast for the curves, but the canyon straightens. The terrain softens. Trees appear on either side, dense and black, pine and cypress. You can smell them, sharp and resinous. You slow again. The static's back. Only now it sounds different, rhythmic, layered, almost like chanting. You flip on the dome light and reach for your glove compartment. You don't know why, you just do. Inside, tucked beneath registration papers, is a stack of Polaroids. Your hands go cold. They weren't there before. You thumb through them. Each photo is of your truck, parked in different places, none familiar. One outside a boarded-up house. One near a ravine with black water. One in a field of crosses, always at night, always under moonlight. In the last photo, you're in the driver's seat, but your head is turned too far to be humanly possible. You drop the stack. Outside, the chanting grows louder. You squint through the windshield shapes, moving just beyond the tree line. Walking, dozens of them, all different heights, all moving in the same rhythm. Their eyes glint white. You keep driving, faster now. The road feels alive, the air heavier. You realize with a slow, blooming dread that you haven't passed a mile marker since mile 0. And that every time you check your mirrors, there's still no reflection. Only black, only void. You begin to understand what the old woman meant when she said, "You're in it now." You're not on a route anymore. You're in the hollow, and it's watching. Your hands ache from gripping the wheel. You didn't even notice until now, until the road dipped again and the chanting faded behind you, swallowed by the fog and trees like it had never existed. The quiet should be a relief, but it is. It never is here. In Grey Pass Hollow, silence feels less like an absence of sound and more like a thing that's listening. The CB clicks again. You didn't turn it back on. A long pause. Then a soft male voice hums a lullaby, out of tune. Childlike, it stops mid-note, then. "Driver, why'd you leave her?" You flinch. Your brain races, searching for meaning. It doesn't ring a bell, except it does. You just can't place the memory. You reach up and turn the knob to mute, but your fingers don't move. Your hands stuck. Not frozen, just refusing, so you listen. She's still waiting by the post, you know. Still barefoot. And suddenly your vision floods with an image that isn't yours. A young woman, no more than 20, standing by a wooden signpost with half the letters worn off. Her feet are dirty, her dress torn, hair matted with rain. She's holding out her hand, but not to you, to the person behind you. You blink and the vision is gone. You pull over, panting, breath fogging the windshield. You turn the engine off, not because you want to, but because your instincts whisper you'll miss it if you don't. Miss what? The static returns, softer now, slower, like a tide pulling away from the shore. And in that hush, you finally hear it. Footsteps not on gravel, not on pavement, on metal. They're coming from behind the cab, from inside. You turn slowly. Curtain drawn, you don't move, you don't speak, just listen. The footsteps stop. Then a soft press, like fingers gently tapping from the inside of your sleeper wall. You reach for the door handle. A half-baked plan forms. Leap out, run, leave the truck entirely. But when you open it, you see headlights in the distance. Two small orbs hovering just past a bend. Approaching, hope, maybe you flash yours in reply, once, twice. The oncoming lights slow, then stop, you wait, and then they blink out, not dim, not turn. Just gone, you lean out your door, squinting. The bend is close now, maybe 100 yards, but there's nothing, until your CB whispers again. Don't follow them, that road loops backward. You freeze, who are you? You finally whisper, voice dry. Another long pause, then. Just a driver like you, been here too long. You wait, hoping for more. You passed mile 0, that's when you stopped leaving. You just don't know it yet. You close the door slowly. The engine turns over with a cough, feels weaker somehow. As you pull back onto the road, the fog seems to avoid your truck now, pulling away like curtains. And on the shoulder, standing at perfect stillness, is a man in a sheriff's hat. He raises one hand, not to wave, not to stop you, just to point down. You glance toward the road and swerve hard. A ditch had opened beneath your front wheel, not visible until the very moment it wasn't road anymore. You grip the wheel, heart hammering. You glance in the mirror again on instinct. And it's still black, but this time something flickers there, just for a moment. A shape, pale and long and crooked, then gone. You remember a strange bit of lore from the Irish Midlands. The Sluagh restless spirit said to fly in from the west to steal dying souls. described as shadows in flocks, whispering secrets into the wind. They say you never see them directly, just the corners they turn, the rustling and empty branching, the shiver on your neck when no windows are open. Some folklorists insist the Sluag weren't evil, just lost. You wonder if that's what this is. Not punishment, a collection of the misplaced. Drivers who turned too far, slept too long, answered the wrong call on their CB. You check your mirror again, still black, still void. But now the static has a pulse to it, a beat, a signal, Morse code. You don't know Morse, but the pattern is deliberate. Long, short, short. Pause, long, short. You grab your phone, no service. You scroll through your notes, hoping for something, anything. Instead, a new file sits in the list. Hollow Loop 1. You don't remember creating it. You open it. Inside is a single line of text. You were the first to leave her behind. The phone shuts off by itself. Your fingers tremble on the wheel. In the distance, lightning flashes, but there's no thunder. And in that white burst, silhouetted on the horizon, you see a massive shape. Not human, not animal, something old, something watching. You don't remember making the decision to stop. It's like your body moved before your thoughts caught up, foot easing off the gas, hand steering toward the gravel shoulder, truck hissing gently as it settles into stillness beside the road. Maybe it's instinct, maybe it's exhaustion, or maybe it's something else. The shape on the horizon is gone now, vanished like a thought you almost remembered. But the image is still etched into the dark behind your eyes. Shoulders too wide, legs too many, head tilted sideways like it's listening. You stare out the windshield for a long while, waiting for it to return. It doesn't. The silence is back, but this time it's brittle, like thin ice. You kill the engine. Immediately, your ears ring from the sudden absence of vibration. It makes the faint ticking of the cooling engine sound like a metronome, measured, patient, and wrong. You lean your seat back, trying to rest. Just a moment, that's all. Just close your eyes, breathe deep, and let your thoughts quiet. You're almost there. Tap a single light knock. Tap, tap. This time from the passenger side window. You sit up, heart tight in your chest. The fog outside makes it impossible to see anything clearly, but you could swear you just saw a handprint smeared briefly against the glass. Long fingers, too long. You don't move, you don't breathe. The tapping stops. You reach slowly into the glove box for the flashlight you keep there. Click it on. A weak yellow beam cuts into the fog, illuminating almost nothing but dew-covered glass. Still, you climb out. Because somehow, staying in the truck feels more dangerous now. The gravel under your boots crunches louder than it should. You sweep the flashlight around the cab, across the road, into the brush beyond. Nothing. But when you circle back to the passenger side, the door's unlatched, just a hair. You didn't open it. You shine the light inside, no one there except something small on the passenger seat. You reach in and pick it up. A child's mitten, wool, striped red and gray, damp, cold. You stare at it for a long time. Something about it pulls a memory from deep in your brain, a snowstorm years ago in Colorado maybe. A rest stop. A kid running through the lot, giggling. You never saw the parents. You never saw where she went. You never thought about it again. But now, you stuff the mitten in your pocket and slam the door. You climb back into the driver's seat, pulse thrumming in your ears. And then, from behind the curtain of your sleeper cab, breathing slow, gentle, as if someone's been sleeping there for hours. You know you didn't open the back. You didn't let anyone in. You reach up, fingers trembling, and pull the curtain back. There's no one there, just a stuffed bear propped against your pillow. Torn ear, button eye, the same one from your childhood. The same one you lost in a fire when you were 8. Your knees go weak. You sink into the seat and clutch the wheel. You don't know what's happening anymore. You don't know what's real. And the worst part, you're starting to suspect you've been here longer than one night. The CB crackles again. Driver 47, time runs different when you're watched. The voice is familiar. Yours, it's your voice. You shut off the radio, no hesitation. But the static continues, now pouring faintly from your dashboard vents. Like the hollow has grown tired of whispering and is ready to sing. You sit frozen until the chill finally becomes unbearable. It's not the night air, It's something internal, like a cold memory bubbling to the surface. You start the engine, and something shifts, not in the truck, in the world. The road you pull back onto is no longer lined by canyon walls. No more pine trees, no brush, just a wide open plain stretching out on either side like the bottom of a drained lake. The earth is pale and cracked, the sky a gray dome without stars or moon, and the road itself, it runs perfectly straight. A single white line stretches forward into the horizon. No signs, no exits, no turns. You check your mirrors again, still black, but now faintly you see something moving inside them, not shapes, not forms, just ripples, like water disturbed by footsteps. You drive, because what else is there to do? You drive until the dashboard clock moves again. It clicks over minute by minute as if waking from a long sleep. And then you notice something odd. The time, 4:47 a.m., the same time it's been every time you've glanced at it since you entered the hollow. 4:47. The time the woman vanished at that rest stop. The time your old CB handle last logged in. The time your dream always ends. Experts still argue over the phenomenon known as chronodisplacement. Moments where time seems to warp on long drives in remote areas near magnetic fields or historical trauma sites. Some say it's neurological, others believe it's spiritual, but you're starting to wonder if it's neither. Maybe time doesn't break, maybe you do, and maybe this road, you keep the truck steady on the endless white line road. Hands at 10 and 2, eyes front, mind fracturing slightly at the edges, because it's not just the road that stretches on now. It's the feeling. The distance between you and the world you knew is no longer measured in miles. It's measured in memories, how much you remember, how much you don't, and how much you're starting to doubt ever happened at all. That's the cruel thing about the hollow. It doesn't haunt you with screams or monsters. It just peels away your confidence, one memory at a time. You check the fuel gauge, it's full. You didn't stop to fill it. You haven't since the first station, the one that might not have existed, or might exist only for you. You roll the window down. Cold wind rushes in. Sharp and clean, but there's no sound. No engine hum, no gravel pinging the undercarriage, no wind noise, just silence. You try turning on the radio again. Even static would be a relief now. Instead, you hear a cassette click into place. You don't have a tape deck, but the sound starts anyway. A recording, your own voice, you're younger, less tired, less hollowed out. And then I saw her on the side of the road, the recording says, casual, as if telling a buddy a weird dream. No shoes, just standing there, didn't say a word. Your stomach tightens. You did tell someone once, years ago, you were drunk, at a dive bar near Cheyenne, talked too much to another driver named Eli. He just nodded and said, sometimes they ain't real, but they still ride. You'd forgotten until now, until this tape. It clicks off by itself, then clicks again. Another voice now, not yours, feminine, measured, almost bored. She's always been in the truck, driver 47. You just didn't see her until now. You slam the radio off. It doesn't help, because now the passenger seatbelt is fastened. You don't remember doing that, and you don't remember anyone else getting in. You look over. The seat is empty, but the belt is tight, as if drawn across something solid, something with weight. You swerve slightly and the belt tugs just for a second like a correction. You force your eyes back on the road. You think of that strange story from the Australian outback of the Min Min lights, eerie glowing orbs that follow travelers for hours, never getting closer, never falling behind. Aboriginal elders say the lights are watchers, spirits of the land keeping tabs on the living. Modern skeptics say it's gas, or heat shimmer, but you've seen something like that before, back in Nebraska years ago. Small orbs pacing your truck in the rear view. You told yourself they were nothing, just reflections. Now you wonder if they were scouts. The road ahead changes again. The white line splits into three. No signs, no guidance, just forks that veer off left, center, and right. Your GPS blank. You try to remember what the old woman said, left at the fork or right into the dark. You scan the lanes, all of them lead into more fog. The truck begins to slow on its own, as if it's waiting for your choice. You hesitate, then you take the center, not left, not right, just straight. And the moment you do, your mirrors flicker, still black, still void. But now the void blinks twice like a pair of unseen eyes acknowledging your decision. The road tightens again, the lines vanish, and now instead of pavement, you're rolling across cobblestone. Rough, uneven, wrong. You check your odometer, it resets to 0. The world around you shifts into grayscale. Not literally, but that's how it feels. Muted, faded, like you've passed through the page of some forgotten book. The CB pops again. A voice, distant, barely audible. A child's voice. Daddy. You nearly run off the road. That voice, no, it couldn't be. You haven't heard that voice in over 10 years. Not since the hospital. Not since the monitors went quiet. You close your eyes just long enough for a tear to fall. When you open them again, there's a toy truck on the dashboard. Plastic. Blue. Same one you buried with him. You slam the brakes. Hard, the truck rocks. You breathe. You whisper. You plead. The toy falls, hits the floor, disappears, not rolls away. Just gone. Folklorists sometimes talk about liminal bleed. Those moments when intense grief makes the world thin. Where doorways between here and something else crack open. Airports at night, long highways, empty waiting rooms, and now this canyon road. You shift back into drive. Your fingers are ice. Your heart is made of thunder. You keep moving. Because to stop now feels like surrender. And you're not done yet. Because there's still a part of you that remembers the way out. Isn't there. The road becomes something else. Not just cobblestone now, it's wet, glossy. As if it just rained, though the sky hasn't released a drop. You lean forward, squinting at the windshield, and run the wipers once. A dry smear. Then water, then blood. You blink and it's gone. The windshield is clear again. You don't ask questions anymore. You don't even curse. That's how the hollow works. It teaches you not to resist, but to observe, to adapt. Like any creature, like any trap. Up ahead, the road dives into a tunnel carved into the canyon wall. No signs, no lighting, just a mouth of stone yawning open, waiting. You hesitate, but behind you, no turnarounds, no other paths, just fog creeping slow and steady like spilled milk across old linoleum. You enter. Inside, the tunnel walls are damp, close, uneven. Your headlights flicker in and out, casting jagged shadows across stone that seems too organic. Like bone that's been shaped and hollowed. You roll slow. 10, maybe 15 miles per hour. Then you notice something, your clock stops, not blinking, not frozen, just gone, no time on the dash, just a blank slate where minutes used to live. No signal, no odometer, no gauge activity, just you. And the tunnel. Then the voices begin, not loud. Not angry, just casual. Did he ever come back? I think he passed through twice. No, he left something here, a piece. They echo faintly, bouncing between stone and steel. You can't place any one speaker. It's like being in a room full of people, all whispering your name. You glance in the rear view, still black. You glance at the passenger seat. The belt is still fastened, still tight, but the seat, it's indented now, just slightly. Enough to make your skin crawl. You grip the wheel tighter. Your headlights flicker again, and the tunnel opens wider like a chamber. And in the center of that chamber is something unexpected. A diner, neon sign buzzing faintly, red and blue lights that don't touch the surrounding stone. The Rested Jackal, it says, in script that flickers between fonts. You slow to a stop in front. Inside, silhouettes move like clock hands. A waitress. A man in a uniform. A couple in the corner booth, heads bowed, all unmoving. Then one of them turns, a young man in a leather jacket. He smiles. You recognize him, not from memory, but from a photo. The stack in your glove box, the one with impossible Polaroids. This was the man standing next to your truck, blurred, elongated, watching. He walks toward the window and points at you. Then slowly, he draws a circle in the air with one long finger. Round and round and round. You press the gas, hard. The truck growls, lurches forward. You clip the corner of the diner as you go, knocking over a signboard that reads, "Today's special, regret over easy." The tunnel narrows again, back to stone, but now something's different. There's a light up ahead. You race toward it, heart hammering. Maybe this is it. Maybe you're finally reaching the end. But as you break through the tunnel mouth, You stop dead, you're back at the beginning. The same canyon road, the same turnout, the same flickering gas station. And standing in front of the pumps is the old woman, arms crossed, her eyes waiting. You don't even bother asking. You just sit there, breathing like you've run a marathon through time itself. She walks up to your window and knocks gently. You roll it down. You looped, she says. I made it through the tunnel. She nods. That's where most people start looping. What is this place? She shrugs. Some say it's where the forgotten go. Others think it's where choices live after we stop making them. That diner was that real. She smiles faintly. The rested jackal only appears when you're too tired to fight your memories. Don't let it feed you. You grip the wheel tighter. I want out. She tilts her head. Then remember why you're in. And then, for the first time, she leans in and whispers, what did you leave behind? Your throat goes dry, because you do remember now. A detour, a snowstorm, a decision you made in minutes that someone paid for with years, a child you didn't check on, a voice on the CB you ignored, a woman in the fog you left behind, and now the hollow knows. Folklorists have long debated the concept of grief loops, places in folklore and oral history where the same story happens again and again to different people. Same woods, same river, same canyon, always dressed in modern clothes, always asking to be seen. You're beginning to realize you're not the first driver 47, and you won't be the last unless you remember what she asked. What did you leave behind? The woman walks back toward the station. You drive forward again, this time slower, this time watching, listening, waiting to remember. You drive in silence, the question looping louder than the road beneath your tires. What did you leave behind? The hollow isn't a place, it's a mirror. And it's not just reflecting your truck, your shape in the glass, it's showing the parts of you that don't make it into your logbooks. The guilt you skim past, the voices you turn down, the exits you ignore. The road stretches on, familiar in the most unnerving way. You pass the same bend, the same crooked tree with a lightning scar across its bark. You even spot the mile marker again. Mile 0, still, still, still. The radio hisses back to life. No warning, no static buildup this time. Just clear as a bell. There's another truck behind you, driver 47. Your fingers freeze. You look in the side mirror, still black, but now a pair of faint headlights blink into existence in that void. Low like old halogens, steady, closer than before, you adjust the rear view. Same thing, blackness pierced only by 2 dots of dull yellow light. No engine sounds, no vibration, no tires on gravel, just presence. You pick up the CB mic even though your throat is dry. This is 47, who's behind me? Silence, then a soft click, a long pause, then your voice answers back. You are. You drop the mic, your hands tremble on the wheel. The truck behind you doesn't move, doesn't gain, doesn't fall behind, it just follows. Even through curves, even when you speed up, even when you brake suddenly at the base of the next hill, still there, still steady. You pull to the shoulder, heart pounding, then just to prove something to yourself, you kill the lights, total blackness outside, and still, the headlights behind you shine through the void. Only now they're not shaped like a modern truck. They're closer together, higher up, like an old rig, an ancient one. You crack your door and step out. The air is deathly still. Not cold, not warm, just void of temperature. You take a step toward the back of your truck, one more, then another, until you round the tailgate and look into the hollow behind you and see nothing, no road, no headlights, just empty air. And yet your shadow is cast ahead of you, long and sharp, lit from behind by something unseen. You don't look back, you can't. Instead, you return to your cab, and the second you shut the door, your radio switches stations on its own. No static, just a clear, crisp weather report. Tonight in Grapes Hollow, low visibility and isolated memory storms. Patchy regret likely by dawn. It repeats once, then once more with slight variations like a scratched record trying to reinvent itself. You rub your eyes. You think of that folk tale out of Newfoundland, the road watcher, a spectral figure said to trail lost travelers until they remember the exact moment they made a mistake. The watcher doesn't punish, it just follows, waits, watches. Sometimes it takes the shape of a loved one. Sometimes it takes the form of yourself. You grab your phone, hoping to distract yourself. A desperate move, but it's powered off. You didn't turn it off. And when you press the power button, the screen flickers. A photo appears, not your lock screen. A picture of you asleep in your cab, taken from the outside, from the passenger side window. And though it's dark and grainy, you can clearly see someone else behind the glass. Not a face, not a full figure. Just the suggestion of a smile. You drop the phone and put the truck in gear. The road winds again, but it's not looping this time, it's descending like a spiral. The rocks on either side climb higher. The fog parts more easily now, no longer fighting you, as if it's guiding, and ahead a new sign. You haven't seen it before. It's wood, old and splintered, painted with shaky white letters. You're almost where you forgot. You pass it without slowing, because deep down something in you has cracked open, and the memory that leaks out is hot and heavy and bitter. A snowbank years ago. A girl in the passenger seat, maybe 5, 6 years old, sick, tired, sleeping. You stopped at a diner, said you'd only be a minute. You came back out. And she was gone. They never found her, not a trace. And you told yourself night after night she must have wandered off. But now you remember the strange knock on the glass. The woman in the distance watching from the trees, the radio whispering even then. And you realize the hollow didn't start here. It followed you, waited, until you ran out of excuses. The incline grows sharper as you descend. Your headlights stretch longer, flickering like they're losing interest. You have to ride the brakes to keep from slipping too fast, but the road, smooth as glass, doesn't grip like it used to. The engine hums low, like it's whispering something you're not quite meant to hear. Each turn in the spiral feels tighter than the last. The air is heavier now. You crack the window and breathe in earth and mildew like the inside of a forgotten root cellar. There's no wind, no sound, just the long groan of the hollow drawing you further inward. Then the road widens again. You reach a kind of basin, surrounded on all sides by canyon walls taller than any you've seen so far. The cliffs shimmer with moisture. Moss drips down like veins. And in the center, waiting in an unnatural pool of moonlight, is a town. Not a ghost town, not a ruin, an actual village lit and intact. Porches strung with dim bulbs. Windows glowing a soft orange. But something's wrong with it. Everything is. Still. You idle at the edge of the main road. No movement, no music, no night sounds, just a deafening pause in the world. Your headlights catch a rusted sign. Welcome back to Grapes. The back part looks newer, brighter paint, like it was added recently. Or often, you drive in slow, not because you want to, but because this town doesn't feel like a choice. It feels like a checkpoint. The first building you pass is a sheriff's station. Sign cracked in half. One lonely patrol car parked out front, tires deflated, ivy crawling over the doors. You glance inside as you roll past. There's a figure at the desk, still, back turned, hat low. You pass a diner, the rested jackal again. The windows flicker as you move by, but inside the booths no one stirs. They sit like wax figures, posed mid-chew, mid-sip, mid-life. You can't help but think of those stories from England, the ones about time-slipped towns. Villages glimpsed once, then never again. Some say they're echoes of the past. Others claim they're waiting rooms, holding places between one version of your life and another. Scholars argue whether they're mass hallucinations or some collective trauma site. But this is personal. Your mirrors begin to clear, not fully, but now instead of blackness, there's static. White noise behind the glass, and inside that static, shapes shift. You turn a corner and the truck halts, engine dead. You didn't touch the brakes. You try the ignition, click, nothing. Outside the passenger window, something moves. You freeze, it's her. The barefoot woman, she's older now. Face obscured by her tangled hair, her dress thin and torn at the edges. She's not waving, she's not pleading, she's just there. And beside her stands a child, small, thin, holding her hand. You You can't see the child's face, but you know. God, you know, your breath catches, hands shake. You reach for the door, and then the CB crackles. A new voice, older, gentle, yours decades from now. Don't get out yet. You freeze, mic in hand. She's not there to punish you. She's there because she's part of you. You grip the wheel again, knuckles white. Outside, the woman lifts her head, and her eyes are not angry, they're tired. So is the child S. So are yours. They turn and begin walking, not away from you, but ahead, down the road leading out of town. They don't look back. Your engine rumbles back to life. No input, no key, just permission. You ease forward, tires crunching gravel that wasn't there before. As you exit the town's edge, you glance at the rear view. For the first time since this began, the mirrors reflect. Not perfectly, but they show a road behind you, and no headlights. Just the empty path you came from. And for the first time in what feels like years, you breathe. Experts in psychology often note that unresolved guilt can manifest as recurring dreams, false memories, even perceived hauntings. But no one agrees on what happens when you finally face it. When you find the ghost in the story is wearing your own jacket. You drive onward. The canyon opens slightly. The fog lifts, if only a little. And you start to wonder. How much farther? The CB hums once more. One last voice. She's just ahead. Keep your eyes open this time. You wipe your face with your sleeve and drive, because maybe this time you'll stop in time. You don't blink as you drive. Not because you're scared, though you are, but because you don't want to miss anything. Not this time. Not again. The road ahead is strangely smooth, like it's been freshly paved, though you know that can't be true. You haven't seen another vehicle in hours, or has it been days? Time doesn't move here. It loops. It waits. It reminds. The canyon narrows again, pressing close on both sides like the throat of something ancient. The only sound is the soft hum of your tires and the faint, rhythmic buzz of the CB, like it's breathing alongside you. Then from the darkness ahead, a faint red glow. Your foot eases off the gas. A traffic light, just one. Standing alone in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by nothing but canyon walls and a thin ring of brush. The light is red. You stop. It feels absurd. You look around, no crossroad, no sign, no cars, no people. Just that glowing red eye watching you. And still you wait. Because something tells you that running this light would cost you more than a ticket. The CB clicks softly. She crossed here once. Your breath catches. She waited, you didn't. You whisper, I didn't see the light. That's what everyone says. The red glow shifts to yellow. You grip the wheel tighter. Then at last it turns green. You roll forward slowly as if expecting the road to collapse beneath you. It doesn't. Instead, the world opens slightly. The canyon walls recede. A breeze drifts through the cracked window, cool and scented with wet soil and sage. Up ahead, something glitters. You squint and it becomes clear. An old checkpoint. A wooden booth, one lane, like something you pass on the way to a state park or a border that's long since closed. No one's inside. The glass is shattered. The sign above reads, Exit interview. No re-entry without memory. You roll forward and stop beside the booth. The windowed side has a clipboard sitting on the counter. You lean out, fingers trembling slightly, and lift it. It's a form. At the top, name driver 47. Cargo guilt. Duration in hollow, indeterminate. Question, have you remembered yet? Below are two checkboxes, yes and almost. You stare, then check almost. The checkpoint gate lifts itself with a low, metallic groan. As you pull through, your headlights pick up an abandoned vehicle on the side of the road just beyond the gate. A small, silver sedan. Your stomach turns. You recognize it, even after all this time. The dent in the rear bumper, the sticker in the window. The child's car seat still belted in the back. It's her car. You stop the truck and climb down, boots crunching against the gravel and pine needles. The air feels colder here. You walk slowly toward the car, one hand brushing the metal side like you're approaching a sleeping animal. Inside, the cabin is dusty, untouched. A thin film on the dashboard, cracked leather seats, air freshener shaped like a tree, long since scentless. And on the passenger seat, a Polaroid. You pick it up carefully. It's a photo of your truck pulled over on the side of a snowy road. You can see yourself in the driver's seat. You're asleep. And standing just outside the truck, hand pressed to the window, is your daughter. Her face isn't angry, it's sad. You feel it like a punch in the chest. Not just emotion, understanding. You were tired, too tired to drive, too tired to stay awake. She must have gotten out looking for you, or help, or warmth, and you weren't there, not in the way that mattered. You fall to your knees beside the car. The breeze stills. For a long time, the hollow just watches, not judging, not mocking, just witnessing. You whisper, "I'm sorry." And you mean it. For the first time, you mean it without excuses. The CB crackles but doesn't speak. The mirrors reflect the car now, no more void. And somewhere in the static, you hear a soft giggle, not mocking, just young, just free. When you return to the truck, you find the passenger seatbelt unbuckled. The indentation is gone and folded neatly on the seat. The mitten clean now, dry. You drive on, tears hot against your cheeks, throat tight but breath smooth. And the hollow loosens its grip, because it never asked for your suffering, only your truth. The road feels different now. Not just the texture under your tires, though even that seems smoother, less like it's resisting you. It's something deeper, a shift in the atmosphere, like the hollow is exhaling for the first time in a long, long while. You pass the checkpoint and keep driving, not fast, not slow, just forward. For once, you don't feel like you're being chased, or tested, or watched, at least not in the same way. The fog has retreated into the tree line. The sky, still void of stars, holds a faint, milky hue somewhere between night and morning. That in-between hour when even ghosts seem too tired to keep haunting. You glance at the dashboard. The clock now reads 5:02 a.m. a real time, a new time. You tap it once to make sure it's not frozen. It ticks. A soft, clean, unbroken tick. Your mirrors reflect again, not clearly, not perfectly. But now they show the road behind you, winding gently through canyon walls that no longer feel like jaws. The CB is quiet. The radio hums, a soft, tuneless drone like someone gently running their finger along the rim of the glass. You're almost ready to believe it's over. But then you see the truck, parked on the opposite side of the road, facing you. Same model, same year, same decals, same everything. You stop, heart stalling mid-beat. You've seen doubles before, but this one, it's your truck. You step out slowly, gravel biting beneath your boots. Your footsteps feel too loud in the stillness. You circle the parked rig, cab empty, door unlocked, and inside resting neatly on the seat. A journal, leather-bound, worn at the corners. You pick it up, fingers trembling. The first page reads, Grape S. Hollow, Loop 12. Your chest tightens. You flip through the pages. Each entry is you, your handwriting, your memories, descriptions of the gas station, the diner, the old woman, the child, the diner changing shape, the way the voice on the CB became your own, the way the mirrors stopped working, the same every time, except this time a final page, dated. Today, this time I remembered her name. You stare at it, ink still damp. And below it, one last sentence. That's when the hollow let me go. You close the journal and hear a click behind you, the sound of a truck door shutting. You turn sharply, your truck, your actual truck. The passenger door is open, and someone is sitting in the seat. You approach carefully, heart pounding. It's a young woman, pale, still. Eyes closed, face turned slightly toward the window. She's not asleep, but she's not quite here either. And then she speaks, without moving her lips. You left the road, but you didn't leave me. Your eyes sting. Is it really you? A pause parts of me. You lower your head. I didn't know how to fix it. You don't fix grief. You walk with it. You carry it. You remember it. You nod, then softly. Can you forgive me? She doesn't reply with words, just smiles. It's brief, faint, fragile, but it's heard. Then she's gone, not vanished. Not dissolved, just no longer there. The seat is empty, the belt unbuckled, the air calm. You climb back into your truck. The journal sits on your dashboard now, open to that final page. The ink is dry, you check the rear view, your reflection is clear, eyes red, face pale, but present, you start the engine. It hums like it used to, low, solid, trustworthy, and the road ahead, it splits, two paths. One winds back into the canyon toward the familiar fog. The other leads uphill, where the sky begins to take on the faintest blush of dawn. The CB flickers once more. You don't have to come back here, not if you carry her forward. You put the truck in gear and turn toward the light. Experts still puzzle over how the brain responds to prolonged isolation, how roads blur into memory, how grief alters the perception of time, even space. Some say the hollow is a myth. Others say it's a metaphor, but you know better. You lived it, you drove it, you carried it, and now you remember. The road ahead climbs slowly, gently, like it's coaxing you out of something deep, like a hand at your back saying, it's okay now, you can go. The air lightens. The asphalt begins to feel real again under the tires with familiar bumps and cracks. Not perfect, not false. You roll down the window and this time the breeze carries the sound of birds. Just one, then two, a quiet song in the brush. You hadn't realized how long it had been since you heard anything natural. The hollow isn't gone. You know that. It doesn't vanish. It just releases when it wants to, when it's done with you, when you're done with it. You glance at the journal on your dashboard again. The cover is closed now, gently weathered like it's been with you for years. You didn't touch it. You don't need to, because you know what's inside. Because this time the story's yours. The road crests a hill and flattens. Trees line either side now, tall and healthy. You pass a wooden mile marker, hand-carved and sun-warm. Mile 1, you laugh. It's not much, but it's real. A couple more turns and the landscape starts to open. You see rolling grass, hints of a town in the distance, gas stations, rest stops, the glow of life on the edge of the horizon. You're coming out the other side. And for the first time, the radio picks up a station. Not a voice, not a whisper, music, a soft guitar, something folk-like. Old, a woman's voice, warm and dusty, singing about long roads and longer regrets. You let it play. You pass a sign. Now leaving Grey Pass Hollow, memory required for re-entry. You don't slow down. Your eyes stay forward. But in the mirror, the fog has reappeared behind you. A final curtain. No shapes in it. No headlights. Just that familiar gray mist folding in on itself, sealing the canyon off once again. Experts in myth call places like this chiasmic locations, liminal doorways where the inner world meets the outer one, where time folds, memory bleeds, and something watches to see what kind of person walks through. No one's sure if these places are real, but the drivers know, the ones who have felt it, the ones who have left something behind. You take the first exit that looks real. Gas station, real people, blinking neon sign that says coffee and tire rotation. You park the truck and step outside, stretch, breathe, smell coffee, oil, dust, and dew. Someone walks by, real footsteps this time, solid, unremarkable. They don't look at you. They don't need to. The hollow isn't with you anymore, but her memory is, and that's enough, because you didn't leave her behind. You brought her with you, in the way you'll drive differently now, in the way you'll listen when a voice crackles on the CB, in the way you'll see the road, not just as a route, but as a reminder. You grab your thermos, walk inside. And for the first time in what feels like forever, you order coffee, just coffee. Nothing cryptic, no strange coin, no warnings. Just a hot cup from a smiling stranger who doesn't know your name. And that's the most peaceful thing you can imagine. You sit outside on a bench, sip slowly, watch the sun crawl up over the canyon rim behind you, and you whisper her name. One more time. Not to mourn her, not to beg forgiveness, but to remember, because the hollow gave you that back, and it can't take it again. You finish your coffee in silence, the way some people finish prayers, slow, careful, with the weight of something sacred resting gently on your shoulders. The world around you is waking up. Trucks rumble down the highway in the near distance. A teenage clerk sprays down the gas station parking lot. Someone curses softly at a jammed vending machine. All of it sounds beautiful. You sit with it for a while, that silence full of life. And it's only then you realize your hands have stopped shaking. Your breathing is calm. Your reflection in the station window looks like you again. Still tired, still warm, but you get back in the cab, slide the journal into the glove box without even thinking about it. The cover thumps gently against a small box you'd forgotten was there. You pull it out. A pair of sunglasses, scratched, cracked on one arm, pink plastic, child-sized. They'd been in your cab once, a lifetime ago. You thought you lost them in a washout rest stop during a blizzard, but here they are. You don't cry this time, you just hold them in your palm for a while. Then place them gently on the dash facing forward, so she can see the road too. You ease onto the highway, merge clean, accelerate like it's just another day. Nothing strange, nothing supernatural, but in your gut you know better. You drive for a couple hours, letting the morning light guide you. It paints the world in amber, makes even the cracked asphalt shimmer like gold leaf. You pass a sign. Welcome to Echo Hill, population 3,114. You don't recognize the town, but your fuel gauge is dipping again. Might as well stop. You pull into a local diner just outside the main strip. The Hollow Bean Cafe. You blink, smile. Maybe it's coincidence, maybe not. Inside, the place is warm, real, smells like syrup and eggs and cinnamon. The waitress, young, ponytail, tired smile, asks how long you've been on the road. You almost tell her everything, but you just say, a while. She pours your coffee, nods like she understands. You eat. Eggs, toast, bacon that crackles when you bite into it. Halfway through, you realize someone's watching, not the way the Hollow watched, not from the shadows. Just one booth over, a man in a faded sheriff's uniform. Looks retired, clean-shaven, sharp eyes, but a posture that says he's seen more than most. He tips his hat as you look up. You nod. He lifts his coffee. Road okay this morning. You hesitate, then, better than yesterday. He smiles slow. That's all you can ask for. You think about asking him, about the Hollow, about the voices, the loops, the checkpoint, whether he's seen it too. But he's already looking out the window now, and maybe that's answer enough. You leave a tip on the table and step back outside. The day is bright now. The light makes your truck gleam a little, like it's been scrubbed of something heavy. You climb in. Set the GPS not to anywhere special, just the next delivery, the next waypoint. The world hums like it should. The CB is quiet until you hit the interstate. Then, just as you pass mile marker 227, a soft click. Then your own voice, faint, echoing like a dream. You left the road, but you didn't leave me. You grip the mic, don't speak, just listen. Because now it doesn't hurt to hear it. You drive on. And out of the corner of your eye just once, you think you see a shadow in the far field, a woman walking with a child, not chasing, not haunting, just walking, peaceful. And in that moment, you realize you were never supposed to forget. You were only supposed to remember the right way, not as punishment, but as tribute. And now, you drive with a co-pilot again, not in the seat next to you, not in the mirror, but in the space just behind your ribs. The space that Hollow couldn't break, the space it gave back. Experts may argue forever whether the supernatural is real, or if it's all dream logic and trauma made manifest on lonely roads. But there's one truth no one debates. Memory is the most haunted place on Earth, and sometimes it takes a long drive through the Hollow to find your way back home. The road winds east now. Sunlight glints off your windshield, painting bright shapes across your dash. The GPS chatters occasionally about exits you already know by heart, mile markers that now carry no dread, only distance. You've stopped checking the mirrors as often. They work fine, but you no longer need them to tell you where you've been. You know now, and the road ahead, the unknown, feels lighter because of it. You hum softly to the radio. Nothing in particular, just noise to match the day. The signal's clean now. No static. No voices whispering from the other side. Only music. A soft piano. A voice singing about being lost and found in the same breath. You remember once, years back, someone told you that highways have memory. That they hold on to every tired tread, every whispered fight, every moment of silence that stretched too long between driver and passenger. You didn't believe them then. Now you believe. because you've driven through memory and come out with your own still intact. You stop for fuel near a rest area outside Baxter's Ridge. The attendant chats with you about weather, football, and how quiet the early morning routes have been lately. You nod, smile, tip well. It's only when you open the glove box to grab a napkin that you notice the journal again. You'd forgotten. Or maybe the hollow let you forget. The leather's softer now, less like a relic and more like an old notebook. You flip it open out of curiosity. The pages are blank, all of them, no entries, no loops, no drawings of hands pressed to glass or tunnels with dripping ceilings or a diner where no one moved. Just empty lined paper, inviting. You grab a pen and begin writing, not to record the hollow, but to write about her, who she was, what she loved, how she used to ask about the clouds shaped like animals out the passenger window, how she made you laugh in the middle of snowstorms, how she deserved so much more than a father who stopped paying attention when it mattered most. You don't cry, you just write. And when you close the journal again, it's warmer in your hands, like it approves. You drive on, one more hour than another. And the road does what it always does. It unwinds itself, line by line, story by story, into a future that no longer scares you. You stop for the night outside a small town you've never heard of. The motel clerk doesn't ask for ID. He just hands you the key and says, "Sleep well, driver." You nod. Inside the room, the air is cool and still. The bed sags a little. The TV's remote is taped together. The water takes a while to heat up. But it feels real. You sit on the edge of the bed, and for a long time you just rest, not out of exhaustion, out of peace, because you've driven the hollow. You've heard the voices, seen the impossible, look straight into the face of what you forgot, and you chose to remember. And now you sleep, without ghosts, without loops, without whispers in the static, just the soft hum of a world turning, and a road that waits, quiet, ready. For wherever you go next, the road ahead fades into silence, stretching softly into the arms of morning. No sharp turns now, no flickering lights or cracked voices calling from forgotten checkpoints. Just the hush of tires on dry asphalt, the way the engine hums like a lullaby, and the whisper of wind weaving between the mirrors. The hollow isn't gone. It never leaves, but it isn't hungry anymore. Not for you, not tonight. You've given it what it needed. Memory, grief, the truth of it all carried not as a burden, but as a name you'll never forget again. So now you let your mind drift. The dashboard lights dim. The CB is silent. The air is just cool enough to make the blankets feel earned. And the dark isn't heavy, it's soft, welcoming. You made it out. You remember. You carried the one thing the hollow can't steal, yourself. And when morning comes, you'll drive again. To new places, with lighter cargo. And maybe, just maybe, when someone asks how the road was, you'll smile and say, quieter than usual, but still full of stories. So rest now. Let the mirrors reflect. Let the truck cool. Let the world wait. You're not in the hollow anymore. You're home, wherever that may be. Hey there, tonight we're heading down a forgotten stretch of mountain road just past sunset. No lights, no traffic, just miles of pine needles blanketing the asphalt and a sky that won't quite commit to darkness yet. It's one of those quiet drives where your tires hum louder than your thoughts until you pass something standing still where no one should be. You probably won't sleep well after this. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Let me know in the comments where you're listening from and what time it is there. I love knowing who's out on the road with me, even if it's just in spirit. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's drift into tonight's dark tale together. You're 3 hours behind schedule before the story even begins. Dispatch routed you through one of those time-saving backways that always end up costing more than they're worth, this time through the Blue Ridge stretch near Loman's Bluff. You're not familiar with the name, which is already odd. You've been running routes in this quadrant for over a decade, but the GPS insists, shortest path to the depot. Trust the satellite right. The sun dips out behind the trees as you crest the ridge. It's beautiful in that lonely way mountain roads can be. The trees are old, tall, bowed inward, forming a tunnel that swallows what little daylight remains. The air up here tastes clean, sharp, like rain that hasn't fallen yet. You crack the window, let it roll across your skin. And that's when you see her. She's standing on the shoulder, just past a curb, pale dress. Hair down past her waist. One hand out, thumb extended the old-fashioned web. Her other arm cradles something, could be a bag, could be her coat. You don't get a good look before your lights flicker past. You pass her. Then your fingers twitch. You've heard the stories every trucker has, hitchhikers who don't cast shadows, riders who vanish before the next stop. But she didn't look ghostly, just tired, and it's cold tonight. Your foot lifts from the gas, just for a moment. Before you can stop yourself, you're braking, backing up, slow, deliberate. You reach her again. She doesn't move at first, just stands in the same pose, thumb out, face hidden by her hair. You roll the window down, need a ride. No answer. She nods once, small, like it's a secret. You unlock the door. She climbs in without a sound, barely shifts the weight of the cab, closes the door gently. Look straight ahead, you clear your throat. Where you headed? She says the name so softly, you almost miss it. Willets Rest. You pause, you've never heard of it. That nearby. She nods again, still no eye contact. You shrug. All right, let's find it. You put the truck back in gear, and the road keeps rolling. For a while, it's normal. She doesn't speak. You don't push it. She keeps her hands folded in her lap. That bundle she was carrying sits between her boots. It's wrapped in fabric tied at the corners. Looks like old cloth patterned with sun-faded flowers. Out of habit, you glance in the side mirror. She's not reflected there. You try not to react. Could be the angle, could be the light, could be your imagination. You adjust the mirror, still nothing. But when you glance at her directly, yep, still there, still silent. You reach for the CB. Think better of it. After all, it's probably fine. Probably. There's a folk legend from North Carolina, the woman of Brown Mountain, a hitchhiker who appears after dusk, always barefoot, always carrying something wrapped in a quilt. Locals say if you pick her up, she asks for a town that hasn't existed in 100 years. Some versions say she leads you to treasure. Others say you never get where you're going. Experts still wonder whether stories like hers are based on regional trauma, lost travelers, burned settlements, railroad disasters, or if they stem from a shared psychological pattern triggered by driving isolation. You don't know about any of that. You just know she hasn't said a word in 30 minutes, and the only reason you haven't asked again is because, somehow, her silence feels intentional. You keep glancing sideways, just enough to prove to yourself she's still there. She is, barely moving, still facing forward, eyes shadowed by her hair, shoulders rigid beneath that faded cotton dress. It's the kind of stillness that makes you feel like you're the one intruding, like she belongs to the road more than you do. The bundle at her feet shifts slightly as you take a curve. You hear something soft, fabric brushing against itself. That's all. So Willets Rest, huh? You try again. This time she turns her head just a little. Her voice is softer than before. Yes, it's where I left from. You pause. That's not how people usually phrase things. You head to a town. You don't leave from it as a destination. You nod anyway. Must be quiet out there. She doesn't answer. You let the silence return. It stretches longer now, heavy with something unspoken. You look back at the road, but your thoughts stay beside you. It's not just her quietness, it's the way she sits. Not like a hitchhiker grateful for warmth, more like someone waiting, not for the ride, for something else. After a few more turns, your GPS stutters. The screen goes black, then flickers back on. It reroutes. The blue line redraws itself. Only now it shows a single winding road. No destination, no ETA, just URON route. That's it, you tap it. Nothing changes. The girl breathes just once audibly. You glance over. She's still not looking at you, but her head is tilted now, like she's listening to something far away. Then, very quietly, you miss the turn. You check the mirrors. You haven't passed any intersections for miles, just forest and dark. Didn't see a sign, you say. There wasn't one, she replies. You try not to shiver. There's a legend out of rural Vermont, less famous, but eerily similar, about a woman in white who appears near dead-end towns. She's always seen walking away from her destination. Locals claim that if you turn back when she tells you to, you'll find a path that isn't on any map. If you don't, you'll keep driving in circles until the road forgets you exist. Skeptics say it's just tired minds inventing stories to fill blank miles. A hallucination caused by road hypnosis. But what if the road dreams back? You grip the wheel tighter. Should I turn around? She nods slowly. You glance at the shoulder, just enough space. You ease onto it, shift into reverse, then carefully swing around. Now you're heading back the way you came. Only. It doesn't look the same. The road's familiar, but the trees are different. Older, taller. Their trunks are covered in thick moss, silver and black, glistening slightly in your headlights. You're not sure they were there before. And the air inside the cab is getting colder. You reach for the temperature knob, but pause. The chill isn't coming from the vents, it's coming from her. There's a faint scent now, just beneath the pine and dust. Not perfume, powder, something old-fashioned. Like the inside of a cedar chest or an antique store that hasn't opened in years. And with it, another layer, earth, wet leaves, rotting roots. You crack the window again, pretending to cough. "I'm not sick," she says suddenly. You freeze. "I didn't think you were," you answer. She turns her head, not fully, just enough to let you see part of her face. Her eyes are dark, not just in color, dark in a way that feels wrong. Like you're looking into a place where something used to be. She doesn't blink. Then she says, "You're not the first to take me back." And suddenly the cab feels very small. You try to focus on the road, but your hands sweat against the wheel. You want to ask what she means, but something in you already knows. The bundle at her feet shifts again. This time you hear a soft clink, like glass, maybe metal. You don't ask. She turns back toward the windshield. The silence is heavier now, thicker, and it follows you as the road begins to slope downward, gently at first, then steeper into trees that crowd closer with every mile. You glance at the GPS. The screen is black, and in the center, white letters begin to appear. Willets Rest, ETA, unknown. You shut it off and you drive. Because something tells you, if you stop now, the road might not let you start again. The road curves tighter now, winding like a ribbon pulled through damp soil. You keep both hands on the wheel, knuckles pale. Your headlights don't reach as far as they should, swallowed by trees that lean too close, branches twitching in a wind you can't hear. She hasn't moved. Not since she told you you weren't the first. You keep sneaking glances at her like you're checking for signs of something, anything. But she just sits there, hands resting in her lap, bundle still at her feet. Calm, patient, too patient. Then the exit sign appears, not ahead, not beside the road, but on the dashboard screen which you turned off 15 minutes ago. It flickers to life, glitching through green-tinted static. Exit 74, Willets Rest. Right shoulder, 300 FT. You blink. There's no exit, only trees, and fog starting to creep in from the ground like spilled cream. You slow down anyway, just in case. The girl finally speaks again. This is it. You glance over. Where? Here, she says simply, and then the road changes, not dramatically, no screeching shift. No rumble beneath the tires, just a new texture. Your headlights catch fresh gravel, the lines vanish, and you realize somehow you've left the highway. But there was no turn, you didn't steer, you just drifted, the trees part. A clearing opens, and in the middle of it, like a secret someone tried to bury but didn't finish the job, is a signpost. Willets Rest, ESD, 1886. The letters are faded, peeling. A lantern dangles beneath, unlit but swaying gently, though you feel no breeze. You drive beneath it. The gravel crunches. She shifts slightly in her seat for the first time in a while. Not much, just enough to feel human. Almost. The town unfolds in pieces, more suggestion than settlement. A few buildings, silhouettes against the fog, a chapel, a post office, maybe a school. One stop sign at a four-way that has no cars. No motion, but lights are on. Warm amber glow behind warped glass, and no one in the windows. The whole place hums faintly, like it's waiting, like it's holding its breath. She says nothing. You want to ask questions, so many, but your throat is dry. and your hands won't leave the wheel. You roll into what might be the center of town. There's a general store, wooden, sagging under its own weight, a porch out front, a rocking chair, and in the chair, someone is rocking back and forth. No phone, no cup, no newspaper, just motion. You slow to a crawl, and she finally lifts her hand, gently pointing to the store. That's where I get out. You blink now. She nods. You put the truck in park. She opens the door, stepping down slowly. You watch her cross the road, bundle in hand, dress brushing her ankles. Her bare feet make no sound on the gravel. She doesn't look back. You expect something to happen, but nothing does. She just enters the store. You sit in the idling cab 2 minutes, then 5. No one else comes out. You flick on the dome light and check the passenger seat. Nothing left behind, except for a feather, long gray, tucked between the seat cushions. You pick it up. It's damp. You shut the truck off, step out. The air in Willett's Rest is heavy. Smells like old wood and cold stone and pine sap left to sour. You walk across the road. The store door is propped open. Inside, dim shelves, old brands, dust, and behind the counter, no one, no girl, no bundle, just a wall covered in photos. Yellowed newspaper clippings, torn flyers, all missing posters. Some new, some ancient, all hand-pinned, curling at the corners. And dead center, her photo. Same pale dress, same bundle in her hands. You lean closer. The paper is dated 1981 and scribbled in pencil just beneath her name. Sometimes she comes back. You turn to leave, but something whispers in the corner of the store, not in your ear, in your mind. A voice you don't recognize, but that somehow knows you. She's not from around here, but you are now. You run out the door, back to your truck. You started, tires spitting gravel, but the road you came in on, gone, just fog, just more of the town, and the rocking chair still moving, but it's empty. Experts still debate whether shared delusions can manifest across decades. If multiple truckers see the same person on the road, is it mass suggestion or something older, etched into the spaces between places? You no longer care what they believe, because you've seen her now, and you brought her home. You keep the truck in low gear, creeping forward like the road might vanish again if you go too fast. The buildings pass on either side. One, a rusted fire station with no windows. The other, what might have been a schoolhouse, now sunken at one end like the land gave up on it. The fog keeps its distance, hovering just behind you like it's unsure whether to return or wait. You grip the wheel tighter. The girl's gone. The door is shut. The seat is empty, but the air hasn't changed. It's still cold, still smells of powder and old flowers. And every few seconds you swear you hear a soft exhale from the backseat, except your truck doesn't have a backseat. You reach for the dome light, flick it on. Nothing there. Then the radio comes alive, not the CB, your actual truck radio, which you haven't touched since the start of the route. It blinks to life and an old song plays. Lonesome Road Blues, but wrong, slower. A woman's voice, low and weary, no instruments, just her. Like a lullaby recorded on a warped cassette, you try to turn it off. The knob doesn't respond. She keeps singing. Look down that lonesome road before you travel on. You check your GPS again, still blank, but just below the dark screen, the faintest imprint of letters glows through. Not lit, just burned into the display. You dropped her off. She left something behind. You look to the passenger floor. The feather is gone. In its place is a small glass jar, screwed shut, half filled with dirt. You don't remember her carrying it, but it's warm to the touch, and it pulses just once. You drop it, heart hammering. The jar doesn't break, just rolls toward the passenger door and settles. You flick the headlights on high beam, desperate for something familiar. And just up ahead, at the edge of what should be the end of town, you see a figure standing in the road. Not the girl, someone older, taller, a man in a sheriff's jacket. You slow down, window cracked. As you approach, he raises one hand, not to stop you, just a lazy wave like someone greeting a neighbor. You stop beside him. His eyes are gray, cloudy, like cataracts left untreated for too long. He nods toward the passenger side. You picked her up again, huh? You manage a half nod. Dropped her at the store. He sighs. Yeah, you think you did. You wait for him to say more. Instead, he points behind him, toward a narrow road that curls off the main drag like a spine. No one goes down there unless they got unfinished cargo. You glance that way. The sign reads, Willow Bend, cemetery access only. You turn back to the man. He's gone, just gone, no footstep. No fade, the road is empty. You scan the sidewalk. No prints, just more fog and the faint smell of burned cedar. You don't know what else to do, so you drive toward Willow Bend. The road narrows fast. Trees lean in. The air smells thicker here, like smoke trapped in pine bark. A sign flashes by. Enter quietly. Another. Below the roots, SHE rests. You pass rows of leaning headstones. Then your headlights fall on a small chapel, built from stone and dark wood, crossless, with doors that gape open. The jar on the passenger floor rattles once. Then the girl's voice, not from the seat but from the radio, barely a whisper. I never made it all the way. Your breath catches. The mirrors begin to fog from inside. You lean forward, peering through the windshield. In front of the chapel stands a small white marker. No name. Just a carving of a feather. You stop the truck. The jar stops pulsing. Experts still wonder whether energy lingers in objects, clothing, jewelry, personal artifacts. The theory is called residual haunting. It suggests some echoes aren't conscious. They just repeat. But this feels intentional. You climb down, the gravel crunches. The chapel doesn't hum, doesn't groan, it waits. And for the first time tonight, you understand. This wasn't just a hitchhiker. This was a delivery, and you're not done, not yet. You take the jar from the passenger floor. It's warm again, like something inside it recognizes the destination. You hold it carefully, like it might shatter with a whisper, but it's heavier than it should be for a few ounces of dirt. The kind of weight you feel in your chest more than your hand. The chapel ahead is quiet. No flickering candles. No pews visible through the open doors. Just that strange, steady stillness like the air. It's been holding its breath since long before you arrived. The marker with the feather carving stands just to the left of the entrance. There's no name, no dates, only that delicate carving and a bundle of dried flowers placed neatly at its base. The petals haven't wilted, though they're clearly brittle with age. You step forward. The gravel shifts under your boots. And just before you reach the stone, the jar pulses again. Once, twice, then still. You kneel slowly and place the jar on the earth beside the marker. For a moment, nothing happens. Then the wind moves, not blows, just moves, like something shifting through layers of memory. The trees rustle without sound. The fog parts above you just enough for moonlight to silver the ground. You stand, and you feel her beside you, not in the truck this time. Not in the mirror, just here, soft, still. Watching, you don't look, you don't need to. Instead, you say the words out loud, words you didn't know you remembered. You made it. This time, you made it all the way. And something exhales, a low, quiet sigh that doesn't come from your own lungs. Behind you, the chapel door creaks open further, just a few inches. Inside, only shadow. No movement. You step back slowly. The jar remains where you left it. No glow, no whisper, but the weight inside your chest, it lifts just slightly. And as you walk back toward the truck, you notice the fog is clearing. Not everywhere, just around the cemetery. A respectful distance. The mirrors on your rig begin to clear too. No longer fog. You can see the road, the grass, yourself. But not the passenger seat. It's still empty, as it should be. You climb into the cab. Turn the key. The engine rumbles to life without hesitation, like it's relieved too. You pull out slowly, tires crunching over gravel. As you rejoin the main street of Willett's Rest, the buildings look different. Not newer, not restored, just settled. Like the place no longer needs to pretend it's abandoned. Like the people hiding behind the curtains can finally sleep. There's a legend from coastal Oregon about a grief loop, a town that only appears to travelers carrying unfinished mourning. Some say if you bring your sorrow through the right path and leave it at the right grave, you're free. But others believe the town doesn't let go. It just waits for someone else to carry the next memory home. You pass the same sign you saw coming in. Willets Rest ESD, 1886. But this time someone has repainted the letters. Fresh, crisp, visible. You don't remember anyone doing that. And beneath the sign, the lantern glows now. Soft and gold, you smile just a little. Because for the first time since you picked her up, the road doesn't feel strange. It feels like leaving. You rejoin the highway. Your GPS lights up again with a happy little chime. Route restored. ETA 4. 12 a.m. The CB crackles once. You reach for it instinctively, and a gravel-rough voice speaks. Driver 47, you still rolling. You blink, click the mic. Still rolling, had a bit of a detour. A pause, then the voice chuckles. Let me guess. Pale girl, quiet ride, left you with something you didn't ask for. You laugh, drying your throat. Yeah, that about covers it. She rides with the ones who don't ask questions, the voice replies. Guess you were due. You hesitate, you've seen her before. Another pause, then. Once didn't stop, still think about it. The signal fades. You put the mic back on the hook. Outside, the highway stretches wide and open. And ahead, the sky is starting to pale at the edges, the faintest wash of indigo signaling the first lean into dawn. You check the mirrors again. Still clear, still you, and nothing else. But just for a moment, just for a breath, you think you hear the softest hum of that lullaby again. Not sad, not eerie, just finished. And that's the best ending any of us can hope for out here. The wheels hum along the smooth blacktop, and the miles begin to loosen something in your shoulders. You drive with the window cracked an inch, just enough for the breeze to filter through. It's still cool, mountain air lingering on your clothes, but it no longer carries that scent of old perfume and damp soil. Now it smells like pine, dust, the kind of road you remember from simpler hauls. The kind that takes you somewhere, not through something. The CB stays quiet, so does the radio. It's the first true silence you've had all night. You pass an unmarked rest area. Gravel turnout, one broken bench, and the trash can so full it leans to one side like it's had enough of the job. You don't stop, but you glance in the side mirror, not because you're scared, out of habit. And in the reflection, you see something strange. An off-ramp. One you just passed. One that wasn't there a second ago. The sign was blank. The road sloped downward into mist, just a second. Then it's gone. You grip the wheel tighter. There's an old legend from the Mojave about the vanishing turn, a route that appears only once, usually around dawn, and only to those who have carried the dead. If you take it, they say you don't come back the same. If you ignore it, you're left wondering forever. You didn't take it, but part of you wonders if she wanted you to. Part of you wonders if that exit was for her. You keep driving. The sun creeps up behind you now, casting long shadows across the trees. The road ahead glows gold at the edges. You check the GPS again, normal, boring, gloriously uneventful, but the memories, they don't fade as quickly. You glance at the passenger seat, still empty. But you notice something new, a folded piece of paper wedged under the seatbelt buckle. You didn't see it before. You didn't put it there. You reach over carefully, tug it free. Unfold it, it's a map. Hand-drawn, charcoal lines on creased parchment. No landmarks, no compass roads, just one road, one fork, and a tiny mark with a single word beneath it. Home. You stare at it for a while, then tuck it into the glove box beside the journal. Maybe it's a joke, maybe it's a gift, maybe she left it as a warning, but it feels like closure, like something tied off. You pass through the next town just as shops are flicking their lights on. A bakery, a gas station, a kid on a bike with a backpack too big for him. Real life, morning life. You don't stop, but you wave. The kid waves back. And for a moment, the hollow, the girl, the chapel, they all feel like smoke that just left your lungs. Gone, not forgotten, just not here. But the peace doesn't last forever. You're 20 miles from the depot when the CB buzzes again. Driver 47 got a copy. The voice is new, calm, young. You pick up, go ahead. You ever roll through Willets Rest? Your throat goes dry. You don't speak. The voice continues. Picked up a girl last night. Didn't say much. Asked to go back to town. I couldn't find on any map. Thought you might know it. You press the mic button. then release it, then press again. What was she carrying? Old bundle. Looked like, I don't know, something wrapped in curtains. Didn't open it. You close your eyes, lean back slightly. Drop her off, you ask. The voice hesitates. She left during the night. Door was still locked, but something S in the cab now. You don't ask what. You don't need to because you know. Don't take the turn if it appears, you say quietly. And if you find the chapel, place it by the marker. The line is silent for a long time. Then, copy that. You place the mic back on the hook. Your reflection stares at you in the side mirror. This time, you nod to it, because you know how this goes, because it's not about stopping her. It's about carrying her memory just far enough, until the next driver does the same. You don't remember the next few miles, not because anything strange happens, no flickering signs, no sudden fog, just regular driving, like your body handling the route on muscle memory while your mind's still back there outside that chapel in Willett's Rest, watching her walk away. The radio hums a faint frequency, but there's no music, no static either, just a low, even tone like the world is tuning itself. You almost welcome the emptiness. After all that, a little nothing feels like a luxury, but then you smell it again. Not the perfume this time, something fainter, ash, burned pine, like someone doused a campfire with old rainwater and let it smolder overnight. You reach up to shut the vent, but it's already off. And the smell isn't coming from outside, it's coming from behind you. You glance into the mirror, nothing. But when you look down, passenger floorboard. A single pinker, it wasn't there earlier. You'd swear on your rig it was. It's small, still closed, tips blackened like it was burned but didn't quite catch. There's a faint dusting of ash around it, tracing a delicate ring on the rubber mat. You don't touch it, just keep driving. Every so often you glance over, expecting it to be gone. It is. And for reasons you can't explain, that's almost worse. There's a story out of Tennessee that makes your skin crawl now about the carrying folk. Ghosts, some say, others call them spirits of burden. They don't haunt exactly. They just leave a piece of themselves behind for you to carry. A butt, a braid of hair, a pinecone maybe. You're not cursed for finding it, you're trusted, until you pass it on. You downshift gently as the terrain flattens. The forest breaks away into open country. Fields stretch out beneath the early sun and the world starts to feel whole again. You breathe easier until the billboard appears, big, faded, but the text is unmistakable. Welcome back to Willett's Rest, Pop, 3115. You blink, you passed this sign last night. The town should be behind you now. You check the odometer. The numbers haven't moved in the last half hour. You pull over, kill the engine, just sit. Silence stretches out long and thin. Then a crow calls from somewhere above. You step out of the cab. The road is dead straight. No turns, no intersections, no signs of life. You take 3 steps toward the front of the truck, just enough to see if there's anything wrong with the tires, the grill, something. And that's when you hear the CB click on again. Soft, but not dead. Then a voice. She forgets where she's going. So the road brings her back. You turn slow, climb back in. The pinecone is gone, but the ash remains. You place your hands on the wheel, heart slow and steady, and speak to no one. She made it. I took her all the way. The CB crackles again, then silence. You turn the key. The truck rumbles to life like nothing's wrong. You drive on. The road begins to curve slightly now, bending west back toward the sun. The GPS reroutes itself with a cheerful tone, and for a brief, beautiful moment, everything feels real again. Until you spot something small in the cup holder. A feather, thin, gray, same as before, except now it's wet. Experts still argue whether items tied to paranormal events act as conduits or simple residue. Some believe the objects aren't left behind, they choose to stay. Folklorists call them tokens of the wayfarer. You don't know what to believe, but you pick up the feather and place it gently in the glove box, beside the map, beside the journal, beside your story, and keep driving, because if she comes back, you'll be ready. The stretch ahead is as straight as memory, but it doesn't feel familiar. Not in the comforting, I've been here before sense, more like deja vu wearing a cracked mask. You know this road. You've driven it, but it feels like it's been copied over a few too many times. The yellow center line glows a little too bright in the morning light, like it's been freshly painted just for you. And the roadside mile marker, it says 19. You frown. You remember that number, not from your GPS, from the journal. Back when you flipped through the pages inside that old cab in Willett's Rest, there was one entry underlined twice. She always appears near mile marker 19. And now here you are. You check the side of the road automatically and there she is. Not standing, not walking, sitting this time, on a rusted guardrail, legs swinging, dress rippling slightly in the breeze you can't feel. She doesn't raise her hand, doesn't thumb a ride, but she's looking right at you. And you don't stop, not yet, because you need to think. You roll past slowly, glancing in the mirror. She's still there, still watching. Then gone, like someone peeled her away from the frame. You pull off a few 100 feet down, engine idling, fingers tense on the wheel. You know how this works. You've done it already. But that was her ride. That was her story. Now she's back, so whose story is this? You kill the engine and step out. The road is quiet. Not a sound but your boots crunching gravel and a soft bird call in the distance. You walk back toward the guardrail. She's not there. But there's a note pinned beneath a rock. Folded paper. Faded, ink smudged by dew. You lift it carefully. One sentence written in uneven, childlike scrawl. I don't remember if it was me. Your mouth goes dry. You scan the tree line. No movement. But a shadow falls across your boots and there's nothing above you. You turn sharply. Nothing, just whine now, and that's somehow worse. You return to the truck. Behind the seat, tucked where your toolkit should be, you notice a small item you're certain wasn't there this morning. A child's shoe, tiny, scuffed, Velcro strap hanging open. You don't touch it, just stare. There's a story out of New South Wales, more obscure than most, about the forgetful spirit. She doesn't haunt places, she haunts moments. Drops echoes of her presence in the lives of travelers until they can't tell if they witnessed something or imagined it. Her favorite method, objects left behind. Things that don't belong. Experts can't agree on whether she's a guardian or a warning. You close the cab door, drive on. Your route takes you past another turnoff, this one familiar. You've taken it before, but as you approach, the name on the sign has changed. It reads, Rideress Way. You slow, think about taking it, but something inside says no. Not because it's dangerous, because it's not yours. You keep to the highway. The feather in the glove box hums faintly against the map. A new line appears across the parchment as you drive, inkless but clear. A second fork sketched into the fibers like it was waiting for this very moment. You glance at it only once, then shut the box and smile just slightly. Because this time, you're not just driving through, you're carrying something forward. Maybe it's memory, maybe it's weight, maybe it's just the acknowledgement of a life that didn't quite get to finish. But it's yours now, and the road finally seems to understand that. The mirrors reflect clearly. The pinecone hasn't come back. The CB is quiet, until the next hill when a soft voice hums over the static. I think I was someone once. You don't respond, just listen. Because sometimes that's all the road needs. You keep your hands steady on the wheel, eyes fixed ahead, but your thoughts keep circling that voice from the CB. I think I was someone once. It didn't sound like her, not exactly, softer, younger, not pleading, just uncertain, like someone waking up from a long dream and trying to piece the shape of themselves back together. You drive a few more miles, waiting for the voice to return. It doesn't. The road widens slightly, just enough for a dusty pull-off to appear, framed by thin birch trees and the remnants of an old trail sign. You ease into it, engine ticking as it cools. You need a moment, maybe more than one. You dig the journal out of the glove box. It's heavier than you remember. When you flip it open, the entries shift as if by instinct, pages settling on something new. April 19th. Driver unknown. Picked her up just past dusk. Same place. She asked for Willett's Rest again. Told her she already made it. She said she didn't feel it. Dropped her off anyway. Felt like lying. Your fingers freeze over the ink. Below the entry is something you hadn't seen in earlier pages. A small symbol sketched in pencil, a mirror cracked down the center. You turn the page. April 20th. No pickup, but found a shoe in the back of the cab. Logged it. Left it at mile 19. It was gone when I drove back an hour later. The handwriting gets messier toward the end, like the driver was shaking. Started seeing her reflection in other things, windows, puddles, chrome tankers. Never where she was, only where she was. You close the journal and sit for a moment. Then, as if summoned, you glance at your side mirror. She's not in it, but you aren't either. You sit still, blink, then slowly lean toward the glass like a bird seeing its own shadow for the first time. Still no reflection. The field behind you shows fine. The road, the trees, but not you. You open the door, step outside, and check the mirror from a new angle. Still nothing. Then, behind you, a whisper, not in the air, in the windshield glass. A shape, just for a moment. Too tall to be yours, too thin, gone before you can focus. You don't get scared easily. Not after all this, but something about that moment makes your skin feel too tight. Your breath too loud, you climb back in. As you start the engine, the mirror flickers and your reflection is back, but it blinks. Once. You didn't. You drive fast for a while after that. Faster than usual, faster than safe. The road ahead is clear, but it's not about the view anymore. It's about motion. As if something, gaining on you and stopping would mean letting it climb back inside. You glance at the feather in the glove box, still there. The shoe, gone, you didn't move it. And the floor is clean, no prints, no dust, just space. Some truckers talk about ghost cargo, trucks that feel heavier than they are. Axles groan more than they should. Tires drag like they're fighting something you can't see. They say it's the weight of unresolved things, stories with no endings. Right now, your truck feels heavier than it ever has. You pass a sign. Next fuel 60 miles. You don't plan to stop, not unless you have to, because now the static on the CB is building again. Not sharp, not random, rhythmic, almost like breathing. Then a soft voice whispers, not her this time, not even familiar. I remember the cold, but I don't remember leaving. You switch the dial, nothing helps. Every channel echoes with that same presence. You reach into the glove box, feel the map again. A third line has formed, winding back towards something, toward you, and next to it in faint pencil. Return route open, passenger incomplete. You close the box, grip the wheel, and say to no one, not yet. Because you're not sure who's trying to return, or if they ever left in the first place. The sky has shifted to that pale gold you only get after a long night on the road, when the sun doesn't so much rise as it slowly seeps into everything. It should feel warm, comforting. It doesn't. The fog-s creeping back in. Not the thick kind that blinds. The soft kind low to the ground, hugging the ditches and shoulders, crawling through fence posts and tree roots. It doesn't cover the road, just traces it, almost like a guide or a leash. You're still on Route 54. Your GPS shows it. Your miles are ticking down, but the scenery is off. The trees are the same species, the signs the same font, but everything's a little older, worn, like someone laid your route over an older version of itself and forgot to smooth out the wrinkles. You pass another mile marker. This one says 0. Again, you stop the truck, reverse, roll back slowly. There's no other marker behind it, just that same 0. The CB clicks, no static, just quiet breath, then a whisper. We're back. You don't ask who we means. You already know. You grip the wheel again, harder now. Your skin feels stretched like you've outgrown your own hands. The rear view flashes just once. You catch something in the glass, not a person. A shadow folded into the corner of the cab where the light doesn't reach. And when you glance behind you, there's nothing. But your truck feels heavier again. You check the logbook. It's open to a page you didn't flip to. Trip 13, mirror weight confirmed. Below that, passenger exited, remnant remains, do not return to Route 0. You close the book, check your mirrors again, still no sign of her, but something's wrong with the reflection. It's not matching your movements exactly. When you reach for the air vent, your hand in the mirror lingers a second too long. When you glance to the left, the mirrored you looks a fraction too slow. Experts in visual cognition refer to this as lagging self-reflection, a phenomenon usually tied to extreme fatigue or neurological stress. But in some occult folklore, they call it the mirror's hunger, a sign that something is watching through your reflection, not copying, mimicking. You blink, look back. Now it's synced again, but your reflection is smiling. And you hit the gas hard. The engine groans like it's waking from a dream. You pass the mile marker again. This time, no number, just a blank post. You fly past it. The road stretches on. Long, empty, too quiet. Then a shape appears ahead, a figure walking down the middle of your lane. You hit the brakes, heart hammering. It's her. Same dress. Same bundle, except now the bundle is unwrapped. You see the edge of what looks like a child's toy. A stuffed animal, soaked and faded, dangling from her hand. She stops walking as you stop the truck, and then she looks up, eyes wide, empty. She mouths something, but you don't hear it. She mouths it again. You squint. Wrong way. You look down at the GPS. The route has inverted. The arrow shows you facing backward. You weren't driving out. You were looping. You kill the engine. Step out into the cold air. She's gone, of course. Only the toy remains, lying in the road now. You don't touch it, just stare, because somehow picking it up feels like taking her back on board. You whisper, "Where do I go then?" The fog parts, and in the far, far distance you see a sign, a green highway sign almost too faded to read. But you can just make out the words. Exit now to remember. Folklorists speak of roads that mimic choice but were always one-way paths. They call them ghost loops, not supernatural highways, just trauma so old it rewrites geography. You walk back to the cab, climb in, start the engine, and turn left at the next fork, even though the map says there shouldn't be one. Because if the hollow wants to show you something, it will keep doing so until you understand. The fork wasn't there before, not on your map, not on the GPS, not even in your memory. But the second you turn down it, the road responds like it's been waiting. Tires grip smoother, the trees peel back, and the fog rises off the ground like a curtain drawn for Act 2. It's quieter here, not empty, just hushed. The kind of silence that exists in churches long after the last hymn fades, or in hospital hallways at 3 a.m. When everything is clean and still and far too awake, you drive slowly. The trees are taller on this road, barren, gray-barked things with no leaves. Their branches twist inward toward the pavement like they're leaning in to hear you pass. Then, a shape emerges from the mist. Not her this time, not a figure, a truck parked off the shoulder. Same model as yours, same year, same plate. You pull up beside it, engine idling low, and step out cautiously. It's like looking into a mirror, your truck. Same scratch along the passenger door. Same dent in the fender you never bothered to fix. But the windshield is cracked from the inside. You step closer, peering in. And there, slumped over the wheel, is you. Eyes open, staring forward. Mouth slightly parted as if mid-sentence. You stumble back, breath hitching. Then you notice something else. The passenger door is open, not ajar, swung wide, and the seat is wet. You didn't touch anything, didn't change anything. But when you glance at your own truck, your real one, the passenger door is unlocked. You didn't leave it that way. You climb back in quickly, lock both doors. The CB clicks. A soft, slow voice crackles through. You dropped her off, but she didn't leave empty-handed. You lean toward the mic. Whisper, what did she take? Silence, then a sound like breathing through water, and a single word. Time. You shut off the CB. The mirrors start to fog again, but not like before. This time, it's not humidity, it's writing. Words etched into the condensation from the inside, drawn by a finger you didn't see move. Stop looping. You wipe it away, and beneath the fog is your reflection again. But you're smiling. That same not you smile. You close your eyes, count to 3. Open them again, the reflection matches now. You keep driving. Eventually, the trees thin. The sky opens wider, and you come upon a clearing. Dead center, surrounded by a broken wooden fence, is a grave marker. Simple, warm. You step out, walk up to it. No name, no dates. Just an engraving of a girl with her hair down, holding something in her arms. The stone is cracked down the middle, and in the split. The feather, the one you placed in the glove box, it's here now. Embedded in the stone, you touch it, it's warm, and your breath fogs in the air even though the morning is no longer cold. You kneel, say nothing. Then a breeze moves through the clearing, and for the first time you hear her laugh. Not a ghost sound, not eerie, just soft, honest, like a child skipping rocks across a river. You stand, return to the truck, start it. And as you pull away, the road behind you fills with fog again, sealing the fork like it was never meant to stay open. Some say grief is circular, that until you walk it fully, you're bound to its loop. Others believe memory only hurts when it's ignored. But maybe this was her way of asking to be remembered properly. And now, maybe you finally did. You merge back onto the main highway as the sun finishes rising behind you, stretching shadows across the road like long fingers finally letting go. The air has shifted. Not lighter exactly, just more honest. The dashboard clock ticks forward normally now. 6:47 a.m. You check the odometer, miles accumulating as they should. Your reflection in the side mirror is synced. Still tired, still pale, but undeniably you should feel better. But the seat beside you is warm. You reach over slowly and place your hand on the cushion. Warm, not recent body warm, but fresh from sleep warm. Like someone had been there just long enough to leave a memory. The glove box rattles once, not violently, just a gentle tap, like something shifting in its sleep. You don't open it. Instead, you turn on the radio for the first time in hours. It doesn't hiss. It doesn't sing. It just plays a voice recording. Old, scratchy, like it's playing from tape. If she doesn't remember her name, don't offer one. Then static, then silence. You flick it off. Somewhere along the line, you stop asking why. You just want to know how many times. You pass another town. This one normal. People walking dogs, sipping coffee outside gas stations, traffic signs blinking yellow like they're waking up too. You roll through slow, window down, pretending for a moment you're just another tired driver hauling cargo on an early Tuesday. Then the CB crackles, clearer this time. A man's voice. Calm, weathered. You've seen her too, huh? You hesitate, click the mic. Yeah, she's been riding with me. The man doesn't sound surprised. That loop doesn't open for everyone, only for the ones who leave things unfinished. You exhale. I dropped her off. I think I did what I was supposed to do. A pause. You think that's the end. Another pause. Then he continues. Some passengers, they keep getting back in even after they're home. You swallow. He signs off. You don't hear from him again. The CB goes dead. The road flattens. Hills roll out ahead of you like waves frozen mid-crest. The kind of scenery that used to calm you. Now it feels too quiet. You reach for the journal again. It's closed, but there's something tucked inside now. A photograph, black and white, of your truck parked on a dirt road, and in the passenger seat. You, not current you, younger, clean-shaven, smiling. The driver's seat is empty. Someone else is holding the camera. You turn it over. No writing. Just that same feather symbol, lightly drawn in pencil. You place it back in the journal slowly, like it might break if handled wrong. You glance in the mirror again. Your reflection looks calm, but your eyes, they're wet. You pass another road sign. Willets Rest, 9 miles. That can't be right. You turned off. You closed the loop. You saw the road vanish behind you. You tighten your grip. This isn't the same route, you whisper. But the GPS says otherwise. It's all the same, every time. The loop isn't about her, it's about you. About how far you'll go to carry what you couldn't hold onto in life. You make a decision. You signal right, take the next turnoff. It doesn't matter where it leads, as long as it's not back. The road narrows, curves, the forest thickens, but this time it feels new, unwritten. The journal shifts on the seat beside you. You don't open it, you just nod, because you're not driving her home anymore. You're driving yourself forward. And if she ever returns, you'll know what to say. You'll know her name, even if she doesn't. The road you've chosen isn't marked on any map. It curves like a question you're not sure how to answer, flanked on both sides by birch trees that sway too gently for how still the air is. No tire marks, no signs, no radio signal, just gravel and sky. You check the GPS again. It's given up entirely. Just a soft gray screen, as though even the satellite feed doesn't want to follow you out here. And for once, that feels right. You're done following, you're finding. You pass an old wooden fence half collapsed into a mossy ditch. A rusted mailbox sits beside it, the name long worn away. You wonder how many other drivers have taken this turn before. How many thought they'd escape Willet's Rest, only to find it waiting around the bend, dressed in new fog. But the sky above you now is clear, and the sun's fully up. That should be a comfort. Instead, it casts long shadows across the road, and you start noticing something strange. There's only one shadow, yours. No antenna shadow, no mirror arms, no truck. You pull over slowly, step out. Your boots crunch gravel like always, but when you turn around, there's nothing behind you. No rig, no trailer, just the road, open and stretching backward into the forest. You spin in a slow circle. It's not just the truck. Your jacket is gone. Your boots are dry, but the road beneath them is muddy. And when you reach for your pocket, there's no journal, no feather, just your hand pale in the sunlight. You exhale, and the fog begins to return, not like before. This fog moves with purpose, from between the trees, from under the ground, like something rising up to greet you. Then you hear her voice, not scared, not angry, just there. You weren't supposed to stay this long. You don't see her, but you know she's near. You take a step forward and the fog parts slightly, revealing a mirror. Not standing, not floating, just suspended like it grew out of the earth itself. It's tall, the glass cloudy at the edges, framed in what looks like bone and bark twisted together. You approach, and in the reflection, the truck is there. So are you, but in the passenger seat. She's smiling, hair long and wild, hands folded neatly in her lap. The bundle's gone. She looks older now, wiser, like someone who remembers everything. You reach out, touch the mirror, and it's warm. Inside the glass, she speaks. One more ride, then you'll understand. You whisper, understand what? She doesn't answer, but your reflection starts the truck, and you see the road behind you again. The same curves, the same signs, the same loop. And you realize this isn't a story you exit. It's a story you learn to carry, to honor, to retell. There's a myth from the Scottish Highlands about a woman known as the keeper of the lost mile. She rides with drivers who have buried too much and spoken too little. Her gift is not release, it's remembrance. She doesn't take your life, she gives you your story back. You lower your hand, the mirror fades, the fog recedes. And behind you, the truck is real again, waiting. No engine noise, just presence. You climb in. Seat is cool now. Journal on the dash. Feather tucked into the vent. You place both hands on the wheel and drive. Because she's not behind you. Not anymore. She's part of the road now. And so are you. The tires rumble gently over the gravel as the truck pulls you forward again. Back onto the kind of road that seems ordinary at first glance. Straight. Empty. Framed by telephone poles and fence posts leaning just a bit too far over, like even they've grown tired of standing for something. You pass a barn, half collapsed, red paint flaking away in long curls. On the side, sprayed in faded black letters. Keep her name. You don't stop. You don't need to, because somewhere between the mirror, the feather, and the voice that echoed through static, you remembered it. Not loud, not like a revelation. Just a quiet return of something you never meant to lose. Claire. Her name was Claire. You don't know how you know it's right. You just do. You say it out loud, gently. Claire. And the road responds. The wind picks up softly. The air warms. The engine smooths out beneath your feet like it's finally stopped fighting gravity. The CB clicks once, then again. But it doesn't speak. It just listens. You reach for the mic anyway. Claire made it home. No response, just a slow fading hum. And then, music. The radio switches on by itself. An old country song, guitar and fiddle, voice like honey scraped across stone. The lyrics don't quite land. They feel like fragments stitched together from other ballads, but the chorus is clear. She left a name behind her, carved in every mile. You drive slower now, because you're not in a rush, and you're starting to feel like maybe this was never about a destination. It was about witnessing, about carrying a story far enough that it starts to settle. You glance in the mirror again. Your reflection smiles this time, and you match it. Up ahead, a weather-worn sign leans beside the road. Not the type you see on highways. This one's wooden, hand-carved. Last ride lookout 1 mile. You follow the curve, and there, tucked into a clearing, is a narrow pull-off. You guide the truck in, kill the engine, step out, and breathe. The valley below is endless. Rolling hills, threads of fog clinging to the treetops like memory. Birds wheel through the pale sky. Somewhere a stream glitters in the sunlight like a sliver of glass caught between pages. You walk to the overlook's edge. There's a bench, and on the bench, a journal. Not yours, this one is thicker. Bound in leather worn soft by time. You open it. First page. For the drivers who carried her and kept going. You turn the pages, each one filled with a name, a time, a note. Saw her near mile 19. She asked if I remembered. I didn't. But I do now. She sang to me once. I woke up crying. Took her back, didn't speak. Left a pinecone in the seat. You reach the end. The last page is blank. You take out your pen and write. Claire, she made it, and I'll keep her name. You close the book, place it gently back on the bench, then stand. Somewhere behind you, the wind stirs the grass. The truck door creaks gently. The air smells like cedar and morning. And for the first time in what feels like a lifetime, you don't feel like you're being followed. You feel like you're being carried. You stay at the lookout longer than you should. Not because you're tired, not because you're lost, but because this is the first place in miles that doesn't ask anything of you. It just lets you be. There's no fog here, no static, no questions hanging in the trees. Only wind through the branches, a few crows on the wire, and the faintest rustle of memory. When you finally step back to the truck, the driver's door is already open. You don't remember leaving it that way, but you don't question it either. You climb in, ease into the seat, and exhale. Then you glance at the passenger mirror and freeze. She's there, Claire, not inside the cab, just in the reflection, sitting in the passenger seat, quiet and still, just like before. Hair down, hands folded in her lap, eyes watching the road ahead. But when you look directly, nothing. Seat's empty. You look back to the mirror. Still there, you speak her name, gently, like it might ripple through the glass. Claire. She blinks once, then smiles. And for the first time since this all began, the smile reaches her eyes. Not sad, not haunting, just peaceful. She nods and disappears. The mirror goes clear again, just you, the road, the trees rolling past like a film reel running out of spools. You don't stop the truck, you don't pull over because you don't need to. She's not warning you anymore, she's thanking you. And what she left behind isn't a ghost, it's a story. The kind that waits for the right person to carry it. The kind that doesn't ask to be solved, just heard. There's a legend in northern Nevada, rare, not often told, about a stretch of road where ghosts don't haunt but hitchhike memories. They don't scream, they don't chase. They just ride along until someone finally says their name out loud and means it. You understand that now. The journal in the glove box stays shut because the story is over and you lived it. The CB remains silent. The feather doesn't move. The road bends left and you follow it, the horizon softening with the early haze of mid-morning sun. Another town's coming up. Gas, coffee, maybe even a real breakfast. But for now, you drive. And behind you, the hollow curls in on itself, folding neatly into a memory that won't vanish, but no longer needs to chase you. Because you brought her home and kept her name. The road slows, not in speed but in feeling, like time has finally unclenched its fists around you, letting your breath stretch long and easy. The hum of the tires softens. The engine fades into background rhythm. Even the horizon feels gentler now, the kind of quiet that lingers after a story has been fully told. You roll down the window a few inches. The air carries nothing now but sunlight and the distant scent of warm dust. No fog, No feathers, just peace. And maybe that's what these stories are really about. Not endings, but reminders of what we carry, of who we forget, of what it means to speak a name out loud, softly, gently, like folding a blanket over a memory too important to leave behind. So now, wherever you are parked beneath dim stars or still rolling through quiet dawn, let yourself breathe. You made it, you saw her, you remembered, and more than that, you didn't look away. Let that be enough for tonight. Let the engine settle, let the mirrors rest. Let the road know it's not the only thing still holding on. Close your eyes, you're not in the hollow anymore. You're somewhere real, and you're not alone.